You guessed it. It's box time. What do we have here? Only some good stuff. Only the best. I could not be more excited about this car. This is the new version of a car that I really wish would have been done differently years and years ago. That's a long way around. Just blabbering while I get this thing unboxed here. Seriously though, this is a car I am super excited about. Don't want to ruin anything here. Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. Aha. Yes. Yes. The rodent shock. Celica. Okay, I'll stop. Sorry. Let's get this guy open, shall we? Why so much excitement about this car? Well, I mean, the obvious reasons. I've been really into Japanese cars recently. Also, I'm really into personally supporting and, well, being excited about, quite frankly, cars that haven't been overdone or really done much at all. This car absolutely fits into that category. It's a car that obviously we know here in the U.S. The Celica was wildly popular in the U.S. And it was a car that was around when I was a kid. And I mean, it just ticks like every possible box for me. I also really like this kind of cow catcher shape. This looks really awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's got everything that I would want personally in a car. I really love these years of cars. I'm really glad that Sideways is continuing to kind of push what they're doing and release new, different stuff. And I mean, I know this isn't the first livery of this car, but I don't know. It just, I absolutely love this. Yeah. So let's look underneath. I think we're going to find a Sidewinder. I should probably just take the tape off instead of doing it the stupid way, shouldn't I? I'm gonna break anything here, of course. Pop, easy enough. There we go. Yes, we have the typical Sidewinder. Sorry, angle winder. Oh, more coffee, please. Excellent, smooth mesh. We like smooth mesh. We have a nice pod. For those of you that care about magnets, we have 2 magnet positions. I like that. We got a nice long guide lead here. The guide lead is a difference from, or the distance rather, from the guide, the center point, to the rear axle. The guide's nice and far out there. Yeah. Nice and wide car too. That's the other thing about these kinds of cars. There you go. These Group 5 cars is that they make such good slot cars because they're nice and wide, nice and low, and yeah, yeah. I'm excited. Let's get this guy open first. Let's do a little bit of earling, and let's get it on the track, shall we? Okay, just 2 body screws. We have, obviously, adjustment on the front axle that we can do, up and down, so you can set the height just the way you like it. 2 screws there, little tiny grub screws, and a grub screw on each tower of the front axle, so you can get that adjustment just right. We have a fairly flexy chassis, and we have 5 adjustment points for the pod. We have 2 in the back, 2 in the sides, and 1 in the front. Obviously, we have an angle winder. We have the standard yellow motor that they put in essentially everything. Perfectly fine motor for my track because, you know, I have the power turned down. We do have a adjustable or a screw-in magnet holder. Let's just get rid of that guy right now, shall we? Because, you know, me, I've talked about it enough. I don't need no magnets here in my life. If If you like them, you're welcome to enjoy them. No thanks for me, though. Every once in a while, by the way, I do a giveaway of the magnets that I have accumulated. So I give back to the community, at least with the magnets that I have. So there's the magnet out of its carrier. Let's just get rid of that, shall we? Not really I don't really need to do too much to this car. I mean, obviously, if I were racing this with a club, I don't really do club racing anymore. Sadly, my job that I have, I don't really have a lot of extra time to do that and to do the slot car news stuff that I want to do as well. So I kind of have to choose here. Loosening up the pod a little bit, trying to anyway, to get a little bit of flex there, a little bit of rattle, shall we? There's an extra set of screws, and the magnet holder is right there in the back as well. So they give you, even though there's no magnet there, they give you extra magnet holder right in the car, which is kind of cool if you're into that sort of thing. There we go. Get a little bit of float going on there, shall we? There we go. There's a little bit of float. Get a little bit of something going on there. Okay, so we're also going to drop a little bit of oil, a tiny drop on each bearing there. And with capillary attraction, it'll pull inside the bearing. So you just need a tiny little drop just in the right in the bearing there, and it'll suck it in essentially into the bearing. I'm going to put a little bit of white silicone grease on the gear there. We're going to put a drop of oil in the bearing end there, and we're going to do it in the can end here as well. The bearing end, the gear end, whatever. And we're going to put, again, a small drop. You don't need much. You don't want to over oil. And we're going to put a drop on the front as well, just because. The guide has nice play. There's a quick disconnect, as you see, pretty much like the, well, it looks like exactly like what Slot-It use. So that's nice if you're a digital person, or if you want to not tear apart everything if you wanted to change the motor or change the wires, I guess. If you weren't digital, you could do that. You could put the digital chip in there. Not a lot of room in here for a digital chip, as we see. I mean, there is room, I guess. I don't do a lot of digital. Well, I don't do any digital upgrading and digital racing, so I'm not really going to be able to speak to if there's enough room in there for a chip. I'm sorry, but that's how it goes. I only do analog driving here at my own track. If you like digital, that's fine with me. Anyway, yeah, so there we go. It's pretty much what you'd expect from a racer, from a Sideways car, I should say. These cars they're a really great place to, I mean, you know, this is like one of the premier hobby brands like NSR and Slot-It. And, you know, the Sideways cars, you really can't go wrong with any of them. I always say it's a good ecosystem for parts, and it really is. You know, these are basically Slot-It parts, and in some cases I think they are Slot-It parts that they use here. Certainly compatible with Slot-It stuff. So you're going to be able to get a good racing experience out of these cars. If you're new to slot racing, these are a really excellent place to start, especially if there's a car that you like. You know, for me, if I was just getting into the hobby, this would be a car I would absolutely go for, because, you know, my love of Japanese stuff. And again, because this car, the Celicas were a new thing when I was a kid. So there you go. Anyway, let's get this guy oiled, put back together, and I'll do some laps with it on the track. So something that you definitely want when you're oiling is you want a little bottle like I have this one here, and you want an applicator that's got the little needle applicator so you can really get the drop exactly where you want it, so you don't over oil. You absolutely do not want to over oil. Something on these cars, and frankly most cars, to get the front to roll well, you see, actually it's kind of hard for you to see probably, but the front is actually rolling a lot better. When you get these cars, the wheels are fairly tightly pressed against each other, just so they're installed. You know, they're kind of there. I pushed it back, so it's kind of tight. There's no side to side play at all. All I do is I just kind of give it a good twist back and forth, so you get some side to side play, some rattle, and that really frees up the front axle quite a bit. And that personally is always where I start. Is if you're able to, is really to just, because usually cars like this will have plastic front wheels, no set screw, so they're just a press fit. So you can really just kind of loosen them like that. And we found side-to-side play is definitely what you want, not only to get the axle to spin freely, but performance-wise, if there's a bit of side-to-side play, personally, that's what I like. So that's really, you know, I already oiled it. I put a drop every place I talked about there. Yeah, so going to get this guy put back together with the two body screws. One body screw right here and a body screw right there. And that's it. We're going to put this car back together and get it back on the track. All right, so we got the car back together. We got it on the track. Yes, I'm wearing flip-flops and sweats. Anyway, here we go. First impressions. Oh, so quiet. Oh, baby. Okay, very quiet. Oh, we love that. Very smooth. Wow. I got to clean off the track, though. But so far, which literally is just those couple laps, incredibly quiet, incredibly smooth, amazing amount of grip, even with the stock tires. You know, polycar track, I've said it before and I'll say it 10 million times, pretty much everything's going to stick to it. It's amazing stuff. And this car is right up my alley. I'm loving it. Absolutely fantastic. Exactly what I would have hoped for. Let's do some more laps now, shall we? So, as you can see, I slid out. The car does absolutely have, it's got a fairly large back end on it. Yeah. Insert joke here. So it definitely is not really a neutral bias with the weight distribution. It's absolutely kind of a rear bias. So if you're not into cars that definitely have that kind of more rear, more kind of tail out feel, this might not be the car for you, but it is very drivable. It is the very well-behaved car. I mean, I just obviously literally just took the thing out of the box, did essentially nothing to it. Well, I oiled it, you know, do a little lubrication, and I did sand the tires a little bit. So there's definitely a lot of room on this car to work. I think the car is absolutely worth it. That's the other thing. Personally, for me, it's like a must-have car. Absolutely, this is a must-have, absolutely suggested car to get, and certainly for me personally. But it's just a very, very well-behaved car. Let's do some more laps. Oh, yeah, a little bit. I think the track's still pretty dirty. Oh, man, the track is dirty. Whoo, boy. Yeah, it's absolutely filthy. Needed to wipe my track down with the expensive handy-dandy slot car brush that I use for track cleaning. Nice grippy tires, though. Just the stock tires. Don't need to change these guys. And you can feel a good snap when it connects. The off of the S's right there, when it gets some good grip, you can absolutely feel it hook up, and that's very satisfying too. I like that a lot. That nice forward bite that you look for. Definitely, it might be a car that's going to lift out in the front, so you probably want a little bit of weight in the front. Sure wouldn't hurt, but I mean, it's just right out of the box with nothing added to it. Just a bare minimal amount of tuning. It's a solid car. Absolutely good place to start if you're in the market for a new venture, for a new brand. Sideways is one of the ones that I definitely think you need to look at. Really, really fun. Really loving this car. Alrighty, folks. Well, what can we say? I mean, for me, this is... I've said it 10 million times. This car was an absolute must-have for me. And I'll show you why. Where'd it go? Yep, I'll get it. Hold on. So, years ago, MRRC had made this car. Yes, the exact same car. But it was a handful, to say the least. This car has a motor that's way too fast. It was more of a toy type of manufacturer with a really high performance motor that just didn't suit this car. But I always really loved this car, and this was released. When was this released? 2012, 2010? I don't even know. So it was a while ago. So this car is pretty hard to find now. And I always wanted a really good running version of the car. I didn't want to change this version that I got from, basically the stock car. And I was really happy when Sideways said that they were going to release this car. And it's met all the expectations that I would have had for it. It's beautiful. The finish on the car is absolutely perfect. The wiper is, just to talk about the wiper for a second, it's a little metal wiper. I believe it's metal. No, that's plastic. But it's a nice flexi plastic. And it's a really good model of a wiper. All the detail on this car, which there's not a whole lot, but it's all done very, very well. It ticks every visual box you could possibly tick for me. The performance is fantastic, so it's got that as well. The value is there. Yes, this is a car that's, you're not going to get this for $50, but this car is absolutely worth it because you get a nice high-performance car that you can tune, that you got a lot of parts for, that, not only to tune it up to make it go faster, but if something happens, you can find replacement parts for basically everything you could ever want. Yeah, I mean, this car, it's got it all for me personally. If you're not into the Celica, okay, I understand. But it's definitely worth the money. And, we're all talking about, prices rising and stuff like that these days. This is one of these good value for money cars. I would highly recommend it. And I want to thank LEB for sending me the car for review, for testing, for I'm going to put this on their website or their Facebook page, I mean to say. And I'll do some nice photos of this car. Yeah, what else can I say? If you think you might want to get into Sideways, if you don't already have some of their cars, really, really great place to start. Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it, folks. Thanks to LEB for sending me the car, and see you all again soon.